Today we're going to be learning about chess. We're going to understand how the pieces move, why the board is how it is, why it's checkered, and the purposes of all the pieces. So we're going to start off here with the pawn. The pawn can move forward in the beginning 2 steps, as you can see in the picture provided. So what you can see in the picture provided is the original pawn's position, which was E2, right next to the D2 pawn, and you can see that the only way that the pawn can attack was diagonally. That's why the black pawn was circled by the white pawn, by understanding how it attacks. That's the pawn. The pawn is kind of a weaker piece, but it's still very important in the game. Moving up in strength, we have the knight. The knight can move in L shapes, anywhere on the board as long as it's an L. It can jump over any other piece. This is the only piece that can jump over another piece. If you look at the picture provided, you can see all the possible positions that the knight can take. It creates L's if you decide to draw lines to those dots from where the knight is right now. As you can see, the knight has a lot of possibilities as long as it's at the center of the board, making it a more powerful piece than the pawn. Then we have the bishops. The bishops, we have 2 actually. This is perfect because I have a light square bishop and a dark square bishop, and that's why there are 2 complexions on our chessboard. There's white and there's black. So you have one of them that stays on the white squares, and the other one stays on the dark squares, and they move in X patterns that you see in the picture provided. In this picture, you can see all the possible squares that the light square bishop can land on, and the same thing goes for the dark square bishops. Alright. Next strong piece, we have the rook. The rook can move in pluses. They can go all around the board, any color squares, it doesn't matter. They move in plus. As long as nothing's in their way, they can go throughout the whole length of the board. And this is the rook's possible positions. You can see how powerful it can be towards the late game of chess because it can move throughout the whole board without being stopped. And the strongest piece would be the queen. The queen could do everything that the rook and the bishop can do. She could do all that and still move all around the board. This is one of your most powerful pieces, and with the picture provided, you can see what she's able to do. In this picture, you can see all the possible squares that the queen can land on, and you can see its strength compared to every other piece. And then you have your king. You have the white king and the dark king. These are very important. The whole purpose of the game is keep these people safe. There's certain things called castling and more advanced techniques that can be learned in a different video, but I cannot go over it because it's way too complex to understand through one video alone. One thing that you do need to understand is the reason why the king on E8 is glowing red is because he is in check, and the best move, as you can see by the green arrow, is to put the pawn in front of him to make sure he's not under attack. If you cannot figure out how to get your king out of check, you will lose the game. Yeah, and then there's also what we call, let me pull out my board here so you guys can see. Okay, as you can see on the board, as I explained earlier, there's dark squares and there are light squares. And usually chessboards go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is the chess notation. Chess notation is just trying to understand where the piece is according to the board. So if I say this pawn is at C4, so we go A, B, C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So understanding that, understanding that this pawn is here at C4 is great when you're trying to explain it through a reading. And we will see more about that in the pictures provided that actually show the coordinates of the board. And that's the basics of understanding chess, is how the pieces move and why the board is set up how it is. And hopefully this will interest you guys to go out and get a chessboard and learn, because it's a beautiful game to understand. Problem solving and critical thinking in situations that you wouldn't think you would use it. Yeah.